Welcome to Peacevision. We are a portal for positive change. And today we have a really amazing guest with us. It's our very first environmental filmmaker that has joined the team here at Peacevision. His name is Erik Crown. And Erik, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hey, John, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and very exciting to be part of this.
Can you give our audience a little background in terms of, first of all, how did you get involved with environmental filmmaking and what have you been doing?
Sure, sounds good. Well, I actually grew up doing production. My dad had a production studio, so I've always been editing and shooting all throughout my life and have found that as my way to kind of relate to the world around me. In 2005, I was diagnosed with cancer and suddenly my whole world changed over. And I started to find that the doctors wouldn't test me for environmental issues. And my cancer, they couldn't figure out exactly what it was. It was a weird hybrid cancer. So I spent the next 10 years going through radiation, surgeries, and a lot of other types of procedures. What that ended up doing was made me want to devote what time I had left. After finding out that the cancer was incurable, I decided I would use my time left to go out into the environment, take my camera into very hard to find places and show people the pollution that is being pumped into our water and our air every day. Because environmental pollution is something that's not accounted for even within the cancers. Most of the time they treat it as if it's genetic. So we need to shed more light on what's happening with environmental pollution. So that sort of became my cause and my whole purpose after getting cancer.
That's an amazing story. And wow, good for you to do the things that you're doing to help us all find a solution for these things. I know that one of the films that you're working on currently involves a paddleboard and a stretch of water. Can you tell us about that?
Definitely. You know, one of the main things that I want to do, like I said, is bring attention to environmental pollution. And the next project that I have coming up, and I'm very excited, I haven't actually publicly spoken about it, so this will be my first time talking about it with everybody, and I'm happy to share it here on Peacevision. What we're going to do is it's called Cancer Alley, and there is a 100-mile stretch of the Mississippi River between Baton Rouge and New Orleans that is the most contaminated and polluted area in America. The average resident there's a 600 times the national average rate for cancer in that area. So what we're going to do is actually—
Did you say 600 times above?
600 times the national average. It is
wow.
Incredibly crazy. And they just actually announced that they're going to allow a new factory to come in and pump all these pollutants in. And one of the biggest problems is these are permitted outfalls. So we have a system that's allowing these companies to poison all the areas right around it. And so the residents have been suffering from birth defects and cancer rates that are just unheard of. And a lot of it is sort of hidden under the face of industry. So what we want to do is we're actually going to go and paddleboard this 100-mile stretch of Cancer Alley. And it's going to allow us to not only raise funds for a lot of the communities along the way, it's going to be a fundraiser, but we're also going to be stopping, interviewing everybody, and using this experience to highlight and shed light on what's happening here, because it's right in our backyard. And recently, with the EPA suspending all of its rules and regulations, the time is more important now than ever to address these kind of problems.
Wow, good for you. That's, and I think what most people want to know is, what can I do? You hear all these horror stories, and what is it that we can actually do to change the tide and get the politicians to fight for the people instead of the corporations in many cases? Is that what you're finding?
Yes. And you know what? I think that's a great question. In conservation, it's always a challenge because what we see is the worst of the worst. We have to face the polluters. We have to face the poachers. We have to face the people that are destroying the environment around us. But we have to fight back, I think, from a place of positivity. And there's two different ways that we can all fight back. One of it I call revolution through routine. And what that is every day, the choices you make, whether you're shopping or you're picking a company that you want to buy from, you should be conscious of the choices you make. And every choice you make every day does affect the economy around us, which will affect the companies around us. So we have to remember that we are all the group. We are a gigantic group. We have the buying power to make companies change. So we have to address companies directly. And then we also have to face our politicians. And one of the most important things we can do is stop looking at the environment through the lens of our political parties and start looking at our politicians through the lens of the environment. Do they hold up in environmental issues? And there's actually a couple fantastic websites you can check out. And I can add the links to them as well. And those will show you how your politicians have voted for the environment. And I think right now the environment is in danger. It's something that we all share as humans around the world. And we have a global understanding of that now, especially after going through this pandemic issue. Everybody remembers that we are all one world and we're all connected. So the most important thing that we can do is bond together and demand change for the future, for our own health, and for the health of our children and grandchildren.
Eric, you're an amazing guy, and we're so happy to have you as part of the Peacevision team. And one of the things we wanted to let our audience know about is the fact that you, on a weekly basis, publish Conservation Conversation. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, actually, my podcast, The Conservation Conversation, it's a very exciting. What we do is it's a very unique show, and you can join us live on YouTube or Facebook and on Peacevision, where we'll be having the shows. That'll be the home for the podcast from now on. But you can join us live, and you can actually write on screen, and all of your comments will be there. And what I do is have guests from around the world Skype in, and we talk about different environmental factors that are affecting all of us. So, we've had guests from South Africa, from Cambodia, from the Philippines, and we try to look around the world as well as the US and find out what's happening around us and talk about all these different topics. And one of the most important things is the conversation. A healthy debate used to be a fantastic thing, and it's something that has sort of been disappearing in our modern world. So the idea is to bring back the conversation, to remember that we're all there, we're all in it together, and what we need to do is use every time we have a problem or every time something negative or stressful pops up. As a conservationist, you can use that as a wonderful moment to engage somebody in a conversation that can maybe open up their mind a little bit or help them see things a little bit differently than the way that they were raised. So that's the other thing, is in this wonderful time of conflict, we have a lot of great opportunities to bring up a conversation. And that's my goal. I feel that all of us are sort of one giant encyclopedia. And if we can all put our heads together, we'll have many more solutions and ideas to move forward. So that's the goal of the podcast.
You're really an amazing inspiration to me, because somebody going through cancer, you would think, wow, that's your focus. You just have to figure out how to beat this disease. And what you've done is said, okay, I've got it. I'm going to go out and find out solutions so that maybe somebody else doesn't. And that's awesome. Erik Crown, thank you so much for being with us today on Peacevision. You'll see Erik here on a regular basis. He'll be updating you with tips on how all of us can help save the planet. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot, John. I appreciate it.